Hi girls, so yesterday I did this makeup tutorial on the group, and because we had so many messages, hundreds of messages on the live stream, I just thought I'll redo this video because there was quite a lot of chit chat on the video. I thought I'll redo this video and I'll whack it up on YouTube, whack it into the groups, and you can just follow this tutorial nice and quickly instead of having to sort of make your way through hundreds of comments. So we're literally just going to do a really basic, nice, pretty, easy makeover for girls in our age group, so 30 plus. I'm actually 44 this year, so you know, it's around this age group and older. If you're younger, you have prettier skin. Like I didn't get very lucky with my skin. I had really bad teenage acne. I had broken capillaries all over my face from being in an incubator, cooked in an incubator when I was a baby. I've got heaps of sun damage from just, you know, years and years of sunbaking with coconut oil on our faces like we did back then because we were nuts. So I've got quite a lot of skin damage. So if I can get my skin to a reasonable health, so can you. And so I'm going to do some of these tutorials as well, but we're starting with just a makeover today, and this is literally just going to be a nice basic makeover, giving you a few tips and tricks for what you can do in this age group. So I've started with my Nutri-rich EL moisturizer, which is a beautiful apricot kernel based moisturizer, and it's just a really pretty, it's not a heavy moisturizer, but it gives you a really, really good, nice amount of moisture, which you can actually kind of even see. So, number one, I'm going to start with a blurring face primer. So, you know, you can't get to this age group usually without having a bit of skin trauma. So, having a primer is really good for a couple of reasons. So, this is a blurring face primer, so it works to sort of blur out and minimise quite a lot of the damage that you've done to your skin, or that you have on your skin over the years. And it also is like a, I guess if you think of it in terms of painting a house, first you sand, then you put on your you know, fill in your little bits and pieces with filler. So that's kind of what this primer is doing right now. It's just a little bit of a filler, so you settle it over your face and it just gives you a really smooth base or a smooth foundation before you put on your foundation. So you literally I just pat that onto my skin. We're not trying to moisturize it into our skin because it's literally sitting there sort of like as a protective layer, and your foundation is going to go over top of that. So firstly, we're going to start with the Flawless Air Serum Foundation. So I fully 100% recommend this foundation because it's a serum based foundation, and that's why you've got to give it a shake like so. It's a serum based foundation, which means for us in this age group, oh that's lucky, I was just about to use the wrong colour. Okay, so that was tan, this is camel. So for us in this age group, it's good to have a nourishing foundation. And there's not very many of them out there. So for this, you literally only need a drop, 1 to 3 drops is what they say, but literally a drop, although this is, I'm running out of this, so that drop didn't come out very well. I'll do that again. A drop of the serum foundation. And yep, so you literally, I start with just using my fingers because two things, I'm a little bit old school, and the other thing is I think you waste quite a lot of product if you put it straight onto your brush, and so being a bit frugal here, I mean there's no need to waste your makeup putting it on your brush first. And this is just 1 drop, remember, putting this all over my skin, and you can already see the coverage that you get from this foundation. So it is such a good coverage. I've still got heaps of that product on my hand, and you can already see how much coverage I've got from what I've rubbed in so far. And the good thing about this product is that it is literally flawless. The name of it is Flawless, and it's flawless. It goes on like the feeling of silk. It's just absolutely beautiful. So it's really nice, and for the fact that it doesn't sort of go into your, I just stabbed myself in the eye with that. It doesn't go into fine lines and wrinkles, so it doesn't sit and get all crepey inside any lines or wrinkles. It's just such a nice fine blend. And the thing about it is that you can also build it up. A little bit goes a really long way. As you can see, this isn't even one drop that I've used so far, and it really goes such a long way. I've still got that much on my hand, so you can go over and you can add more for more coverage in the places where you feel like you need it. And then again go back over with your brush and just buff it all out. But it's just such a good coverage. Like, it really does give you, I'll just come in for a little bit of a close-up in a second. It really does give you a really nice amount of coverage, as you can see, but without it making it look like you've got, I guess, what they would call cake face. Nobody likes to have too much foundation on in this age group. I don't recommend wearing, you know, a great big load of foundation. I think it's very aging looking. In fact, I think it's very aging looking for any age group, but it's just that 20-year-olds don't have to care about looking older, do they? I always like to just use a little wet wipe to take any foundation off, any excess foundation out of my brows or around my hairline. I just don't like that, having that kind of gingery look into your hair. So you can take off that excess there and then just buff it back out again so you can't see. So that's your foundation. That was one drop, and I just feel like that for me is a nice amount of coverage. That doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel like I need a heap more product. Okay, so the next thing is our setting powder. So I really like this yellow setting powder. The reason for that is because the yellow does neutralize any redness on your skin, and we can quite often end up with a bit of redness on our skin in this age group, just due to you know, broken capillaries, or some people have a bit of rosacea, so it's good for that as well. So it just really neutralizes any redness. If you've got quite red eyelids, it's really good for that. And while we're at it, it warms your skin tone up because it's a yellow base, and it just sets your foundation. So your foundation will be beautifully set just by using those two products. I'm going to go as fast as I can because we really did take such a long time yesterday in the group live, and just a lot to watch. So hopefully if you didn't catch everything on that live the other day, you can just come back and watch again. So we're going to go through the colour correction wheel now. So this is called the Complexion Correction Kit, and on the back you'll see all of the ways that you can use these products, but I'll just run you through them really quickly and briefly. So peach is to counteract any dark circles, any darkness, anything that's looking a little bit dark around your eyes. Peach is to counteract that. Then we've got the green, which counteracts any redness, so that's good again for rosacea, for any broken capillaries or pimples or anything like that. You can have the red on. And then you've got the three colours of concealer. So I'm going to start with a little bit of that peach up there, and I just dotted my finger in there. It's that much on my finger, and I'm just going to go into any of the dark areas around my eyes here, and I'm just going to pat that out. You do have a blue vein that runs into the corner of your eye there, so if you just sort of put your finger in there. I do this even when I have my long fakey nails on, so you can actually do this with longer nails as well. You just have to be a little bit more careful, or else you can always use the brush. But I like to use my fingers because I feel like your fingers warm the product up, and so it kind of gets into your gets right into your skin and does the job that you want it to do a lot easier when you use just your finger. And you'll find that lots of high-end professional makeup artists will use their fingers a lot, especially for this sort of work. Okay, so we've got the peach on, and you can see that it looks a little bit peach, but we will minimize that out again as well. So once you've got your peach on, that's minimize the dark circles, so we want to just set that. We want to make sure that that concealer is going to stay sitting over top of those dark circles. We don't want that to shift because we don't want that darkness coming out to say peekaboo during the day at all. Cool. So then I'm just going to go back over that with a colour, one of these colours, which is more my skin colour. So mine's generally medium, and then obviously you can actually mix all of these colours to make your own colour, but mine's generally medium, so I'll just go around that whole area with my concealer. And people will probably ask, how can you put concealer over powder? Well, you can, because for a couple of reasons. The concealer is so fine, so thin, and so is the setting powder. So I'm going to put that concealer there, and I'm actually going to put it on my eyelids as well, because that's going to help for when we do our eye makeup later on. It'll help your eye makeup to just pick up the richness of the pigment. So we'll just do all of this in one go. So this is my colour, skin colour concealer that I'm using. And I've put it, like I said, put it over top of that peach that I put on there. So it doesn't take away from the work that we've already done to minimise the darkness under our eyes. All it does is now add our natural, sort of more natural skin colour over top of that. So then I'm going to set that again. You know, you don't have to use all of these steps, but I'm just showing you some good tips and tricks for minimising that aged look. And certainly getting the darkness out from under your eyes and the redness off your eyelids is really good to help you minimise that old age look. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use this beautiful palette. This is an absolutely stunning palette. It's got all of the most gorgeous neutral colours in it. I like to call it a bridal palette because it's got some very beautiful neutrals, and really anybody can use these colours. They're pretty safe for most skin tones. So I'm going to start with a little bit of these two are the blushes. This is a bronzer, this is a highlighter, and those are the eye pigments. But I'm going to actually use a little bit of this blush here, and I'm going to create a little bit of a background colour on my eyes. So I'm taking it up above that eye socket crease there, just not right up to the brow, but just in that gap. So just slightly over top of the brow, this eye socket bone, and underneath the brow bone. So I'm just giving that a tiny little bit of colour, and you can barely see that, but that's just to create a bit of dimension to this look. So I'm just creating a bit of a backdrop, if you like. And then I'm going to use a little bit of brown in the crease. So I might just go ahead and use, I might just use a little bit of the bronzer for the crease. And so I'm just going to put that straight on the crease. So anywhere where you put a darker colour, it's going to retract the look. So that means, because darkness detracts, takes things back, and light brings out. So if we put a little bit of this brown into the crease here, what we're effectively doing is causing that crease to look further back, which in turn is going to cause that eyelid to look further forward. So I'm just going to go with your blending. You want to keep your wrist really loose. It's like having a drumstick, so you just want to keep it really loose. Hold the end of your brush, just little circles, backwards and forwards, rainbow, backwards and forwards, round and round in circles, and you just do that until you can see that the blending you've done is quite seamless. So you just don't want any harsh lines where you can actually see the beginning and the end of the makeup that you've done. Cool. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit of a darker colour inside, just on the outer third. So I'm going to use a little bit of this, and it's not going to be too dramatically different, but I just want to deepen that crease there a little bit. You can hear my rubbish bin being dragged back down the driveway. My lad's doing some work for me. So just a little bit of darkness on the outer third of the eye. We're just going to pop a little bit to the outer corner. So, you know, you don't have to be perfect, but placement is a really good thing to know. It's the difference between your makeup looking like you've swiped it on, or, you know, just slapped it on, or whether you've actually done a decent job. So that's just a little bit of brown. Now I'm just going to go underneath the eye with that brown as well, because I do try to stay away from eyeliner. I think eyeliner under the eye can look quite harsh at our age, so if you do want that kind of eyeliner look, I've just used the darker brown here, and I'm just using that for a bit of a dark eyeliner underneath the eye. So just give that a little bit of a blend out, and that's just in place of the eyeliner. Okay, so if you want your eye, actual eyelid to be a little bit more standouty, pop a little bit, I'll just go with another palette that I've got here, because it's got, actually, what palette should I use? I've got a few nice palettes, but as long as you can find a palette with a nice nude colour in it, so like not with a metallic in it, just a nice matte kind of looking nude colour. I just like to put a little bit of nude on the inner corner of the eye. It keeps it really clean, and it makes your eyes look so if you put dark into the centre of your eyes here, it makes your eyes look really close together. So the opposite is also true. If you put nude into the inner corner of your eyes here, you're going to create a look where your eyes look a little bit further apart, and you know, industry standards of nice symmetry is having sort of more wide set apart eyes. Also, as we get older, our eyes do tend to look smaller, they get a little piglety looking. So you want to you know, just minimize that collateral damage from old age, and yeah, so just keep the nude on the inner eye there. If you fancy a little bit of sparkle, or if you just like a little bit of zhuzh, a little bit of shimmer, it's totally fine to do that in this age group. You don't have to be 20 to wear a bit of shimmer, but just know that there's a difference between doing a full drag queen looking sparkly makeup and just putting on a bit of shimmer. So I'm just going to stick to the centre of my eye a little bit there, and I've just chosen just a champagne-y kind of colour. Nice and natural looking, but still quite pretty and shimmery. So I'm just focusing that on the centre of the eye and just taking it out slightly. Centre of the eye and taking it out slightly. So you can see that it's got a pretty little shimmer, but not too outrageous, and it doesn't look like too much. Right, so I'm going to now use my black eye pigment. So the other thing about us in this age group is you can often end up with quite watery eyes in this age. I don't know why that is, but quite a lot of ladies do complain about that. So a good thing to use instead of an eyeliner is an eye pigment. So using a black eye pigment is really good. So if you just grab yourself an angle brush, these are generally used for eyebrows, but grab yourself an angle brush, put some black on there. I just like to tap it off one side and then the other side. I don't have a whole bunch of drop down, because black drop down your face is really a pain in the butt. So I'm just gonna now use my tiny little mirror that's a little bit wobbly, excuse me, and I'm just going to hold my lashes down using my corner brush. I'm just going to tap that black eyeliner along as close to the lash line as possible. So the good thing about this is, like I said, if you get watery eyes using a pigment, you're not going to end up with black eyeliner down your face. So I'm doing the same thing again, putting a little bit more black on and as close to my lash line as I can get. And then that just gives you a nice eye line on the top of your eyelid, lash line. I'm just going to have a little sip of my coffee, excuse me. And so, like I said, it's not going to end up running down your face during the day. So if you've got kind of watery eyes or eyes that tend to, a lot of moisture under your eyes, which tends to make your eyeliner travel, then you can just use the eye pigment over the top of your eyes instead. And that is just great for our age group. If you want your eye makeup on the top of your eyes to look slightly denser, you can use the eyeliner, instead of putting it under your eye or over top of your eye, you can use the eyeliner on your waterline. Sorry, I'm just going to try and get that product working. Okay, so I'm just going to use a what one is this one? A black eyeliner, and I'm just going to hold my lashes up. So we're doing the opposite now. Get my little mirror, hold your eyelashes up, and we're just going to draw that black into the waterline now. And so you can see already that creates a little bit more density looking in that sort of lash area, because you've just drawn over any of the skin colour that's close to your lash line. Just makes your lashes look really nice and close together and really thick. So that creates a really nice black defined line, and it's not going to travel. That black eyeliner is not going to travel because it's inside your waterline, so that's not going anywhere. And then we've used pigment for the eye line on top. I generally, like I said, I won't put a black eyeliner underneath my eyes for a couple of reasons. It can make your eye, well, first of all, the eyeliner can travel and be all down your face by the end of the day. And the second thing is that it can make, it's very aging to have a lot of black eyeliner or, you know, a lot of colour down under your eyes. You want to always be creating a look where your makeup's going uphill, which is why you don't want your eyeshadow flopping down over the side of your eyes either. You want it always to be inside this part of your eye area, never below your eye. You're just trying to make your makeup always go uphill. Because otherwise we just look sad and old and our faces look like they're dropping off. And you know, same thing for eyebrows. As you get older, you lose the muscle tone in your forehead, so your eyebrows tend to drop quite a bit. So you know, and your eyebrows are supposed to shape your face, so as you lose the muscle in your forehead, your brows get sort of lower and flatter and angrier looking, and that happens to your whole face. Your whole face is constantly fighting a constant battle of not falling south, just like every other part of being in this age group. Okay, so I'm just going to put a bit of mascara on, and I like to keep, I don't always put mascara on my bottom lashes either, because I find that can also give you quite a draggy look, dragging down look. So I'm just going to show you the difference. So when you've got a bit of mascara on, that's nice. It's nice to have a bit of mascara. It gives your eyelashes a bit of a lift, and makes you look a little bit more awake, gives you a little bit more volume in that area. But if you put too much black mascara underneath your eyes, then you're going to have the opposite effect, and you're going to be kind of pulling down that eye area. And so, like I said, that can have the potential to make you look a bit older. But, you know, it is fine if that's what you like. You like having eyelashes on the bottom as well, go for it. It's only makeup, it's not plastic surgery. Or you might like just to put a few little lashes just on the outer corner, and then that gives you a bit of definition. It gives you a little bit of definition to the eye without making it look all the way around your eye. So I'm just going to do the other side slightly as well. Okay. Cool. Okay, so now we're just going to do some brows, and we're going to mascara, and I'm going to use the exact same palette that I just used for my eye pigment, and I'm going to use a little bit of the beige, because my eyebrows are really fair. I don't need to have, and I don't like block eyebrows either. So I'm going to put a little bit of beige into my brows. If you've got darker brows than this, then a little bit of beige and a tiny dot of black pigment. I always say to my girls, nobody that I've seen pretty much in my entire career has warm brown eyebrows. Yet you see quite a few people putting warm brown eyebrow pencils through their eyes and eyebrows, and they just look odd. They just don't look right. So I think a little bit of beige just takes up the gaps. So if you've got any gaps in your brows, you can kind of fill them in with a bit of beige. And then depending on how dark your eyebrows are, you just add a little bit of black. If you've got really dark eyebrows, then obviously just black. But usually always, most people can do with having beige as the base, and then black and just adding a bit of colour as you go. Right, so as this light is quite bright, I'm going to put a little bit more Camel foundation around that eye work, because I can still see that, to me, that looks slightly peach still. So I'm just going to go over that with my foundation colour, so it doesn't look peach at all. Before I do anything else there. Okay. So now I'm going to use my very beautiful bridal palette again, and I'm just going to put on a bit of bronzer and tell you how that works as well. So this bronzer here, and I'm, you know, industry standard is all about symmetry. So, you know, eyes nice and wide apart and nice sort of symmetrical jaw to forehead, and they say that the perfect shape face is an oval, and so, you know, there's all these kind of symmetry tricks that you do when it comes to industry standards. But for the rest of us who aren't models, let me show you how. So as I said before, dark retracts and light brings out, so I'm using a little bit of the brown bronzer to swipe across the top of my forehead there, because I've got quite a high forehead, so I've got plenty of extra forehead, and so I just take that down a bit with a bit of bronzer. And I do the same with my jaw, because like I told you yesterday, I have my dad's very strong manly jaw, so lucky. And so I just put a little bit of that contour on there. Then to do my cheeks, I want to just, I've got quite I don't have like the kind of girly pretty high cheekbones, or any of that kind of pretty kind of those features going on. So to create those, I just get a little bit of the bronzer and I just make sure that's not too much on there, and I just squeeze it like this. Look, you can find your cheekbones by going, so I want to create a look that this is cut here, so pretty much to the top of the ear here, and I don't want to go any further forward than the side of my face. I don't want to be a wraparound look, so doing the same thing. I'm just getting placement at the moment, so and we're just creating placement so we can sort out a little bit of illusion here. So what we've got here is the jaw has been bronzed up, the forehead has been bronzed up, and then we've created a little bit of an illusion with this color here. So you can take it up higher, but just don't take it down under the crease that you've just created. So you just want to blend that all out, and then what I do once I've got that all on there is I just get my kabuki brush and just buff it all out, because once you put it on in the place that you want it, then it's just all about blending that colour out, so there's no harsh lines. And then that just warms up your skin tone, gives you a bit of an illusion of slightly different shaped face. And then we're going to use, just dusting that, blowing the dust off that, and then we're going to use the pink again. So we're going to use the pink blush this time, and we're going to use this. So you're going to smile, put it on the balls of your cheeks. Not too much, but you can dust it off, but it's better to start with less and then add to it than it is trying to take it off. So I said yesterday, when you blush, you don't just blush at the front of your face, you blush right up into your hairline. So you want to take that blush and go all the way back into your hairline. Same on the other side. And it's totally up to you how much blush you like. I don't usually wear a whole bunch, but I've seen some girls wearing a lot more than me, and it does look really pretty. It's really up to you if you want to have a really nice blush look, or whether you want it just to be really slight. Totally up to you. So it's just a little bit of, tiny little bit of blush to the cheek area. Then I'm going to finish up the face with a bit of highlighter. So this is the highlighter here. Just going to use the little fan brush, and with the highlighter, the trick is you want to it's like you're walking down the beach and the moon's shining down on your face. This is nighttime, and wherever the moon hits your face is where your highest points of your bone structure is. So that's what we are trying to do with the highlighter. So just the top of your cheekbones here. Same on the other side. A little bit. So with my forehead, I've already done the whole, you know, bronzer up top because I wanted to bring that look down. So I don't want to go and draw attention to the high part of my head now. So I'm just going to put it down slightly lower here and put a little bit of highlighter here. So across the cheek here, top of your cheekbone here, and then just a little tiny bit on the Cupid's bow, and a tiny little bit into the brow area there. Not too much, because you don't want to overdo it. Definitely not in this age group. You do not want to overdo it. So you can still see that highlighter up there, so I'm just going to now dust that back a bit, because you don't want just big swipes of highlighter on your face. You're just going to dust that highlighter back, so it should never look like a big chunk of any makeup at all. It should always look nice and really subtle. So if you've got a little cute little nose, you can put a little bit of highlighter down your nose as well. I don't need to draw attention to my nose because my nose is long, so I don't need I don't want to bring more attention to it by adding highlighter, so I'm not going to do that. And to finish, actually this is not exactly the finish, but I'm going to put on a little bit of so that lipstick is called Sunkissed, and I like that because it's just a really pretty basic lipstick, but if you like you can use a lip gloss or something instead if you're more into lip gloss, or lipstick and lip gloss, up to you. And then to finish off, like good and proper finish off, I'm going to use this setting spray because it's a beautiful setting spray for our age group. It gives you a really luminescent look to your skin, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, I always freak out when I do this because I think I'm going to end up swallowing it, but here we go.